Good evening and welcome to I'm Listening Live. I'm Listening is a 24/7, 365 initiative that works to destigmatize mental health. We've got a great show planned for you. But before we go to our first guest, I want to just talk about the fact that we are still in a pandemic. I know there's a lot of information coming out. Make sure you're looking at reliable sources. We want to get our vaccinations, but nonetheless, until then, we still have to be wearing our masks and social distancing. But I want to make sure we're focusing also on our mental health. I'm reminding everyone to check in on those around them, especially people you might not have heard from, people that are isolating with themselves, and continue to ask each other, how's your mental health? Letting people know that it's okay to talk about your mental health and also that you are a resource for them. Let's now go to our first guest, Angelica Ross, actress, activist, host, entrepreneur, performer. How are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm good. I want to just first off say congratulations. I was looking at all your accolades. You've done a lot so far. Well done.
I've done a lot in my short, 21 years of life.
How is your mental health right now through all that's going on in the world? Because there is a lot going on.
It was starting to, I was concerned for a moment, in the sense that I go hard. People who know me know that I go hard on all the issues. I am the one who's quick to stand up for everybody. But sometimes you need to stand up for yourself. And so I kind of just removed myself from social media spaces. I'm doing a lot more writing and I have a full plate right now with new music and production. And I just am kind of too busy to get lost in the thick of things.
I saw you post that on your social media. Was that hard at first? Because whenever I've tried to take a break, I see my hand reaching out to grab the phone. I have to pull it back.
Well, so I deleted the apps from my phone. So that's the first thing. The next thing is you obviously still have access to these apps from the web browsers on, your computers and things like that. So it just takes a barrier away from me to not have it at my fingertips and for me to really just stay focused on what I need to focus on.
Beautiful. I'm so proud of you for doing that. In my clinical practice, I recommend that to a lot of people for their mental health, and it's probably the number one thing that people push back on. So when people are successful at that, I'm always impressed. So let's just dive in a little bit more. Self-care. What kind of self-care have you been doing other than taking breaks from social media? What's your general self-care practice?
Right now, my self-care practice consists of working out twice a week with my trainer. So I'm still doing that. So it's virtual and he's kicking my butt, but at least it's just keeping my body in shape and really flexible for whatever's coming up next. And I also have just been spending a lot of time with my dogs. So I have my 2-year-old long-haired Chihuahua, Hammer, and now he has a big sister. I say big sister, even though she was just born, but she is a full-size Doberman, but she's only 13 weeks old. So watching them get along and trying to, be a puppy mom is keeping my hands full.
Yeah, you got your hands full. I have a little football cat.
And as you can see, right behind me, or actually on this side there, is my piano. So for me, a lot, my self-care is playing the piano as well as, my spiritual practice and sort of chanting and doing all of that kind of stuff. So my space is my refuge.
Oh, so nice. I can feel that when I look around your room. And it's interesting, when I was looking at a little bit of your journey, I read how your father initially said business school, not art school. And now you're actually doing all of it.
Yes. Yes, it's amazing how life comes full circle. And that's why I really encourage folks to get tapped into what sort of the universe is asking of them. And, because you can't necessarily think that these conventional methods are going to lead you to what you're looking for. You really have to be tuned into what to look for, which sometimes are just signs and symbols that are for a conscious mind, if you're conscious enough to recognize them.
Oh, that's beautifully said. I think often we're afraid to kind of be directed by those symbols or those archetypes or those dreams or those fantasies, but I think sometimes that's maybe the most honest part of us.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm working on some things right now that, I've been developing and just helping folks to understand the sort of perspective that I have and how I've come from the margins of the streets to living the life of my dreams right now.
You're living the life of many people's dreams right now. So I read this stat and it was really heartbreaking. 2020, last year, was the deadliest year on record for trans lives.
Yes.
And I had heard a stat, I think 2 years ago, that the life expectancy for someone who's trans is, I think, 36, but even younger for someone of color.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, many of us trans women of color try not to sort of like focus on or repeat to
Okay.
not sort of well, it's not. What I mean is just in our own sense of like it has become this thing that has been a fulfilling prophecy that so many of our sisters aren't making it past 35. And so we're just speaking and affirming new life into ourselves and into community. And we are not going down without really amplifying our voices and fighting for our dignity and for our lives. So that's why you see that many folks like myself and like India Moore, um, some folks will be like, hey, aren't you afraid of losing your jobs or endorsements or different things because you're speaking so strongly on these issues? But in our eyes, we have nothing to lose because every day we know that we are losing one more sister.
Heartbreaking. And also, I imagine for someone like yourself who has a platform, you have to take advantage of that.
It's unfortunate that, I mean, it's not unfortunate, but it's just one of those things that people don't understand how much work that women, black trans women do that other people don't have to do. Other actors who are in my industry and field who are white or white women or what have you, they're not expected to do the kind of work that I'm doing.
Understood. And that's why I think for me as a cis white person, I appreciate your comment about having the labor, sometimes feeling like it's forced upon you. And that, myself as someone who's white and cis, I try to tell other white cis people, we've created transphobia, we maintain it, and we have to really step up and dismantle that. So, to those listening, we got to do that work.
Thank you.
100%.
Absolutely.
So Project Fierce, talk to us a little bit about that.
Project Fierce is just an incredible project that came together with my friend Anthony Preston, who is someone I just met in the nonprofit circles around. And when he came to me about this song that he was doing with Ultra and with Mila, and about the cause really behind it. And he knows that I'm a community girl. But what he didn't know is that a girl can hum a tune too. So when he played this song, I was like, oh, you're not just gonna have me promoting it. I'm singing the hook on this song. And the rest was history.
Well done. I saw some of it on your socials. I loved watching you sing. You belted it out. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
So for those that want to get involved, before we let you go, how can they get involved in the Project Fierce?
Yes, I mean, honestly, they can go right to Amazon, iTunes, and Spotify and pre-order that EP because the more they get their life to the song, the more that trans women will be able to have life-affirming support from trans-led organizations like the Marsha P. Johnson Institute, GLAAD, and the Sylvia Rivera Law Project.
Beautiful. And we'll keep putting that out on all of our socials. Angelica Ross, thank you so much for everything you're doing and also for being a part of our show tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a beautiful night. All right, very inspiring. Right now is a tough time, so not everyone has to be working to their full capacity. But as Angelica pointed out, there's still a lot we can be doing from home, working on hobbies, new careers, or even getting involved in activism. We need to get everyone involved. For those that need a little more support, we're going to put up some resources at the end of the show. As always, y'all, thanks for hanging out with me, and you have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your night.